Everyone, hope you're doing good wherever you are around the world. My name is Ben, I'm the founder of Bullring Crypto, and in this video I'm going to be giving you 10 reasons why you should be doing your own research on the Coreum L1 blockchain that is about to launch in August of 2022. We're now just a couple of months away, and I think this is an ideal opportunity for us to be getting stuck in and finding out a little bit more about why we should be looking at Coreum and potentially adding it to our investment portfolio. Of course, none of my videos are ever financial advice or buy signals. They are simply bringing your attention, triggering your own research. Go off there and do a variety of different digging. Go and look at different commentators, go and look at different sources and see whether things match up for you. Yeah, none of us are here to give you any financial advice. That is down to you and you only. Okay, Coreum. I think, me personally, it's going to be a beast. There's no doubt in my mind that I think that this is going to be a huge player in the crypto space in the months and years to come. And these 10 reasons I'm about to give you will justify why I think that. The first one of these is the connection to the Solargenic Team. Now, the teams are building both the Solargenic platform, which is NFTs, DEX, bridge, their own card, all sorts of different things on the XRPL, and also an L1 blockchain. So they're fundamentally different projects with the same people. But when I look and I think, okay, when you look at Barbras and you look at Razor and you look at these people, you know, that are involved, Favio and Mauricio and these people that are involved in the team, you know they're a professional outfit that have created something of substance already. It's not that we're buying in like 2017, we're buying a white paper with a little bit of hopium that they're going to create something. They're already knocking it out of the park with Solargenic. I'm thinking if they're knocking it out of the park, I'm liking the user interface, I'm liking the simplicity. When we look at the Solo wallet, we look at a really cool wallet. There's so many different aspects to it. I'm thinking these guys know how to build. They know how to build quality crypto projects. They have got the connections in a variety of different places in marketing and development and everything. So the boxes tick for me on the team side of things. I think that the team has the kahunas, has the capability to go out there and to smash an L1. I think what they've done also is they've looked at the XRPL, they've looked at different blockchains, they've said, okay, what are some of the complexities, what are some of the friction points, what are some of the things that we need to overcome with our own L1? And they've looked at it from a solution mindset, and this is from having conversations with them, yeah, and I'm trying to understand them even at a very high level and going, okay, they're looking at bringing some solutions that don't currently exist on this blockchain or this ledger, and they're looking at doing it themselves. So I think with all of that combined, that is a good tick for me, a tick in the box, and I really like it. The next thing is the current price point. And again, this isn't a buy signal now, but this is me looking at this thinking, okay, I know when we have a look at the numbers here, 500 million tokens, right? So 500 million tokens, no more. And it says it under here, no additional tokens will ever be created. There is 20% of that in this airdrop system that I've spoke about in a previous video. So solo holders on the XRPL that have got a Coreum trust line set up, if you're holding Solo and you've got that Coreum, you on a monthly basis can get airdropped some core, yeah, so the native token, also the native coin to the Coreum blockchain. You can get airdropped that in a token format on the XRPL at the moment, right? And you can start amassing, you can start getting this core right now. Well, there's 100 million, so it's 20%, yeah? So 20% of 500 million, 100 million. They're about halfway through that airdrop schedule at the moment. So that means the circulating supply is somewhere in the region of 50 million. Just 50 million, and the price point, if we go back onto the price point here, 47 cents. So we're looking at around about 23, 24 million. It's saying here that the market cap is 47. It's actually half of that because the circulating supply is not quite this high as yet. And my understanding, right, just using all of the data that we've got available, I think we're looking at 20 something. Now, using the circulating supply, which is staying the same, which obviously it's not going to, because as soon as the mainnet goes live, there's starting to be token usage for other things. But if we start using that, say to ourselves, is there room to grow? Is there, is it realistic that that can grow by, say, 10x? Could it be that we get to 250 million for an L1 that's got a hell of a lot of features and functionalities? Absolutely, in my opinion, it can. It could even go 100 times from where we are today, right, in terms of a market cap up to 2.5 billion. I don't think there's any problem in that. When we saw the recent bull market over the last sort of 8 months and a little bit back from that, we could say to ourselves, well, there was a lot. There was almost the whole page, the first page of CoinMarketCap, the top 100 crypto projects, many being L1s, over $1-3 billion market caps. I think, can Coreum do it? Absolutely it can. Of course, as I said, the supply is going to be going up. Right, so the supply of the tokens is going to be going up. So it's not just the fact that there's just going to be the current, what I predict to be about 50 to 60 million tokens in the circulating supply at the moment. It's obviously going to be going up. So to get to that level, we would need to see, certain other factors happen. But could it? Yes, it could go 10 plus times. Very, very easy. So of course that's a tick. I'm thinking, okay, price appreciation, team, both of those are ticks in the boxes for me, doing my own research. I also like the fact that we've got these WebAssembly smart contracts. Now, when you look at Solidity, or you look at the Ethereum virtual machine, you look at it, it's very narrow in so much as it's Solidity based, right? So that's the coding language, Solidity. And I know there's a lot of networks that use EVM. So you can use Solidity across a whole different host of different networks. But I think with the WebAssembly, and the input that we've seen from Mozilla and we've seen input from Google, regular developers are going to be able to build smart contracts rather than it being sort of a specific language that's not really used on a day-to-day basis. All of a sudden it opens up to like 10 or more different coding languages that are being able to be utilized, which is obviously a lot more developers building a lot more different features and functionalities on the Coreum network, bringing more people in. Now, we've seen this with Cosmos, Tendermint, etc., utilizing this WebAssembly smart contracts. And we know that there's many projects that are utilizing the Cosmos SDKs, etc., and these networks and these projects are some of the best in the business, some of the best out there. Interoperability is standard, and I think, okay, I prefer that. I prefer to have the WebAssembly smart contracts than I would do from having it very narrow. And of course, smart contracts aren't on the likes of Stellar, aren't on the likes of XRPL at time of recording this video. So those networks are very limited. I know they're all about cross-border payments. I know that they were never designed, right, to have smart contract functionalities, but it just seems weird how now all of a sudden they're thinking, well, maybe we should add them. So you're starting to get the conversations at Stellar and at Ripple and on the XRPL to be bringing smart contract functionality to those cross-border payment networks that were built for cross-border payments. So I think it's almost like an afterthought for me. And whereas Coreum is saying, okay, we need to have those as standard because of the features and the functionalities we want to build. So for me, that's a big plus. Next one is deflationary aspect to transactions. Each of the transactions at the minute, bearing in mind, this video is being recorded before the release of the technical white paper, which is happening in hours away from now. So this could be outdated information that I'm giving you. As always, do your own research, okay? But the deflationary mechanism is in place that 20% of each transaction gas fee is going to be burned. That is then going to create this as more transactions on the network happen, as more developers come, as more dApps are built, as more features and functionalities are integrated into the Coreum ecosystem. and those transactions start going up, the amount of burn is going to start getting heavier. The total fixed supply of the token is going to come down. When I say token, it will then be the native coin of the network. Of course, the gas coin of the Coreum network. At the moment, it is a token on the XRPL. So just so you're aware of the language that I'm using. Next is the use cases. I think that there's a whole plethora of use cases. I'm really interested in GameFi. I'm really interested in Metaverse. I'm really interested in having trading card games with NFTs and, a whole host of different things, including DeFi, AMMs, reward structures, liquidity pools. I mean, I love all of that stuff, right? I just love it. I just live it on a daily basis, trying to find out more information, better ways of doing things. The developers that are building these sort of tools, I absolutely love following them and getting involved in all of that stuff where I can. Now, for me, this is super fast. It's super green. The consensus mechanism that is being used is using a constantly changing amount of validators, right? So these are being voted on like every 4 hours. And what this does is it keeps the amount of validators very small so that the blocks can be processed very, very fast. We're looking at 1.5 seconds time to finality, which is super quick, and 10,000 transactions in each one of those 1.5 second blocks, which is just ridiculously fast. I think if we look at Stellar, right, is stupidly quick. Stellar is ridiculously quick. We're looking at around about 6 seconds now, finality. 3 to 5 seconds was the average. Now it's getting a little bit busier. It's about 6 seconds. So 1/4 of that speed. Or it's 4 times faster than what Stellar's running at the moment. That's damn quick, right? Of course, we've got to see the mainnet. We need to see proof of the pudding. But I'm happy to say that they are putting that out there, and I think they can deliver with their consensus mechanism that they're going to be using, right? So this is another thing that is going to be really funky. I'm going to touch on the airdrops. I've already touched on it at the start, but I'm going to touch on the airdrops as one of the main reasons, because I just think to myself, if we're getting this core, because we're holding solo, right, so we're holding our solo, we've got our core trust line set up, we're getting some on a monthly basis. But then after that first year from the solo holders being rewarded, when the core or ledger is running, right, then what's going to happen then is that you're going to be able to stake your core and get more core. There's going to be airdrops for core holders. So you're going to be able to now, if you've got solo, get core, hold the core, get more core with core, right? So it's like a knock-on domino effect. So I've got to bring that to your attention as well. And that's going to be running over the space of about 3 years. So the first year is Solargenic, then there's the 2 years where the core holders are going to be getting these airdrops as well. So you just like literally scraping off the table at the casino, aren't you, to be getting more and more. And as I said, if there's a lot of ifs involved, but if we see that price appreciating, as I said it could do, right, from this 25 million roughly market cap at the moment upwards, and the price starts going up, then all of that core that you've amassed at the minute, where we're looking at, say, $47, what happens when that's $2, $3, $4 in the future? Potentially. So all of that you're amassing at the minute, it's got a chance of appreciating, so you can actually be making on top of making. I love that kind of compound thing. So that's another one for you. Speed and cost of the network I've touched on. I want to touch on that just again to say to you that when you start understanding that this can scale and that the gas cost will actually come down because of this algorithmic balancing that they're going to be having. So the more transactions that are being processed, the gas price is coming down. That's almost going to be the polar opposite, isn't it, of like when we looked at Ethereum and the crypto kitties back in the day, and then clogging up the whole of the Ethereum network. I mean, I've had failed transactions on Ethereum for over $100. I've started to pay the gas and the transaction's not gone through. $100, gone, like that quick. And you think to yourself, okay, well, do I try it again? Because that's another $100. Now, it's only the fact that I'd made several $1,000s on some daft meme coins that I was able to kind of take that on the chin. But imagine if I was just sending a regular kind of transaction, right? And I lost $100. So where you get this system that as the congestion goes up, the cost comes down, I think that's very, very cool and needs to be looked at in more depth, which I will do with the technical white paper when that is launched. Native NFTs. Both XRPL and the Stellar ledger do not have these native NFTs. It's almost like I use a square peg and a round hole. They've made something work. Post-thinking. Again, remember what I said just a few minutes ago, which was that you need to understand that they have been built as cross-border payment networks. Then it's like, oh, maybe we add this. How do we make it? How do we make it work? Well, we have to do this, and we have to kind of hammer a few nails in and kind of fix a few things to make it work. It's not native. It's made to work, and that's the reason why you've got the XLS 14D NFT standard on the XRPL at the moment, moving to a new standard that's going to have some more features and functionalities built into it as a protocol kind of upgrade there, because they know that they need to change that, because they need to change with the times, allowing more GameFi, allowing more metaverse experiences, and all the things that are the buzzwords. They need to change that, but it's not native to the network. So I hope you understand that way. I think it's ERC 271 is like a native NFT standard for like Ethereum. Yeah, it's not something that's kind of been botched in, afterwards because it needs to be kind of added so that the network stays relevant. Right, and that's what I think a lot of these other networks are doing to stay relevant. They have to try and tweak things as they're going. Right, it's the liquidity thing with Stellar was another issue, wasn't it? So they brought in the automated market maker in the L1 so that they could try and help combat this liquidity issue that they had as an Achilles heel. Right, but it wasn't in there at the start. It was kind of like it's morphed into it as time has gone on, as things have evolved. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. With Coreum, the NFTs are being built in from the get-go because they know how important that feature, that functionality is in the network. There's also going to be the DEX that's built in, very similar to the XRPL, similar to Stellar, where the DEX is built into the L1 for security. That's a cool thing. Then we've got it's green, right? So a lot of people, buzzword at the moment is how much energy does this bad boy consume? And this is extremely green. I think it's like, 99% greener than whatever it was compared to. I don't know whether it's the Bitcoin network or whatever. It's not hard to be greener than Bitcoin, is it? But essentially, I know that a lot of renewable energy is being used in Bitcoin mining now, but I just think the whole way that the staking works, the consensus algorithm, as I said, with Coreum, is just designed to be very similar to the XRPL and Stellar with how green it is, how it has basically no footprint when we're sending a transaction against Bitcoin and ETH at the moment, which are really, heavy on energy. And finally, the staking. For me, the ability that we can actually stake, and I don't just mean we're getting the core and we're kind of getting the airdrops, which I've spoke about. I mean the fact that we can stake as delegators with validators, and we can have a say in the direction of the L1 network or L1 blockchain. So we can then put our power behind a validator that we believe in. It might be the fact that we think, oh, well, there's good returns on this one for staking our core, right, with this specific validator. This validator's, got a lot of uptime. We're confident that they have the best interests of the network in the front and center of their mind. So we are going to delegate our core tokens with that validator so that they have voting power on the decisions, etc. And we can also, obviously, with our coins, with our tokens, we can have a say. Lastly, just a little Brucey bonus on top of this video. I feel that there's also the possibility, when we look, I know, before anyone says, I know that people are going to say, oh, but that was an epic fail. When we look at Terra, the Terra ecosystem, one of the things that worked really well was when projects were launching, you were able to get, if you were staking the Luna asset through the Terra Station wallet, you would get a kickback in the new project's assets. So you would be getting an airdrop of these tokens, right? And I think that there's the possibility, because of obviously the similarities, we start talking about the WebAssembly smart contracts, the correlation and the integration with Cosmos SDK, Tendermint and all that sort of stuff. And I think that there's also going to be this where if you are building a project, then you might, to build your community, to build awareness, you might provide a certain amount of your tokens to the people that are staking for the security of the Coreum blockchain, right? So that you might say, well, we're going to set aside 10% and we're going to airdrop them. And then guess what? You've got all of them holders already, haven't you? You've got all of those community members because you've dropped. Now, a lot of those are going to sell off, but some are going to go, oh, hang on a second, what's this project then? Let me go and find out a little bit more. And I think a lot of the success for a lot of those Terra projects that popped up was down to the fact that they were going to be given airdrops, Astroport being one of them. Yeah, that was a very sort of successful build-up to and marketing to when they were going to be doing these airdrops for staking your different assets, or sorry, your Terra, let me get my words out. Sorry, your Luna in the Terra Station. Yeah, you would get some airdrops back for that. And they also still do that. You still get little bits of different, when I say they still do it, they did it up until their epic collapse. You'd still get different bits of different assets if you were staking your Luna in that wallet. I think there's possibilities that that can happen. Now, that's not guaranteed. That's not from the horse's mouth. But I think the way that it's set up would allow for that. And for me, being involved in projects, I would be saying, well, that's something that we definitely need to look at. We definitely need to look at getting our tokens into people's hands who are already securing the network. Yeah, who are already delegating with the validators. So I hope these 10 points have been useful to you. I hope that you can go off now and that you are armed to do your research at a deeper level, because there's so many things that you need to look at with this. Like I said, I could go on and on and on, 20 or 30, but I don't want to take up much more of your day. I think I've spent enough time highlighting some of the key areas for you to look at. It's now up to you to have a look at whether Coreum constitutes something that you want to invest time to research. Yeah, it's simple as that. So as always, if you've got some value out of this video, drop me a comment underneath. Give us a like and a subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. And yeah, I'll do my best to return any comments, if you've got any questions or anything like that, as and when I've got a little pocket of time. Take care, have a great day, and I look forward to joining my next video. All the best.